Now, the next step in the detailing process, or at least my detailing process, is to decontaminate. So just did the engine bay with a simple all-purpose cleaner, and then a simple spray down of hyperdressing diluted 4:1. And the next step is to get the surface rid of contamination. Now, it's different than a wax. So we're going to use decontamination soap to foam the car down, and then we're going to wash it as normal. Again, the wheels are already done. I just put new wheels on it yesterday. Again, I probably should have waited, but I just put new wheels on it. So the wheels are done, the tires are done. I don't need to address any of that. We do want to clean up the wheel welds. So we're going to clean those, and I might end up steaming the suspension. But the rest of the surface is contaminated. So we have CarPro TiO2 on the surface. It's been topped with bead maker, since we've done that. I think I've used various other drying aids in between, like ECH2O and Reload and things like that. But the truck right now has a couple of coats of IR cured TiO2. It's still on the surface. You'll see the water still beads. It was just treated with some bead maker last week. Rex washed it. So now we need to strip off the bead maker, get whatever we can off the surface. We're going to auto scrub it. We're going to iron remove it, and then we're going to iron remove it, then auto scrub it. And then we'll go over to the garage and address removing the coating so that we can reapply. And again, it's 3 years. I like on my GT3 or something, I probably wouldn't wait this long. I don't give a crap about what coating recommendations are and how long the warranties are. You address the coating when it's time to address it, and we'll talk more about that as we go on. All right, so we need Iron X. So let's get our Iron X out, and then we're gonna need some clay lube. So we'll have to mix up some of that as well. And we need to put some decontamination soap in our foam cannon and our bucket. And this, to make it worse, they add a cherry scent to it to make it smell even worse. I think what I have in the store, so I'm just using up the rest of my CarPro. I don't find that iron remover really matters all that much. Just pick one. But I have a Ferrex in the store, which is Optimum's version. Again, I have a new version of the sprayers, version 1, we'll call it 1.2, that we have. Let's get our Decon soap ready. So I've talked about this a lot, but if you're interested in what this soap is, it's my own branded stuff, made by Projet for me. You can go to the store, check out the video. I'll tell you a little bit more about this stuff. Quick disconnect should be back here shortly. So this is a MTM foam cannon, new PF22, and then I'm putting a Garage branded quick disconnect. We're working on the world's most expensive aluminum funnel that'll be a quick disconnect for this. I'm going to put about 200 mLs of soap in here, and then I'll grab my wash mitt to clean up my mess. Get a couple of these going. I'll fill this up later. It's annoying me. How often do you decontaminate? So I use tons of soap. No, don't worry about it. So Rex is going to rinse the truck, and then we'll show you the water behavior and show you what the contamination looks like. While he's rinsing, get this all set up. He's got my buckets backwards. It's going to drive me crazy. I always wait to fill up my wash bucket so I can make as much soap or foam as possible. But we'll make do here. We won't hold it against Rex. He doesn't actually watch any of the videos, so he does his own thing. I'm gonna skip the cap because I forgot to bring it. Mix it up. This stuff foams really well. Super, lots of lubrication. Tends to do a good job at this process. All right, it's ready for foam. All right, so let's foam it. Yeah. Oh, this thing's awesome. I need to get one. A little sketchy getting up and down, but
be careful, man.
yeah, especially with soap. Okay, and we wash. So you can always tell when it's time to do something. The coating's actually in pretty decent shape, but you'll feel contamination, on the surface. And this thing's actually held up incredibly well for the lack of care that I've given it. But it is time to, and this is the one time that I don't worry quite as much about scratching, but, we don't want to introduce any marring if we can help it. So we still want to use normal washing procedures to get the surface cleaned up. And it wasn't really particularly dirty because Rex just washed it a few days ago, which will make the decon process a little bit quicker and easier. But normal top-down washing is how you would do it. I'm just getting the bugs off here while I'm at it. Looks like somebody might be building next door. Looking at it. I don't know if that's the guy who owns the lot. He's gonna come over and yell at me for the yard guys throwing stuff over the fence. I think we'll talk more about this when we're polishing, but coating maintenance, just doing a clay bar and calling it a refresh, I just don't recommend doing that. I mean, you're gonna scratch up the surface. So I don't like to mess with the coating until it's time to remove it and start over. I guess you do iron removal, but people have this misconception that iron removal removes contaminants. No, it just removes iron. Iron is usually not as much of a problem when you wash regularly. I guess it depends on where you live. But when your car is coated, then hopefully you don't get embedded iron particles as readily. All right, what did you do? Go for it, rinse it off, and then iron removal. So, we want to rinse it reasonably thoroughly, but it's not the end of the world because we're going to be rinsing it several other times. We've got to do iron removing next, and then we got to auto scrub it. Shoot, we might want to just auto scrub it and leave it.
Look how it's reacting.
Yeah, because the decon would have ripped off the bead maker.
Yeah.
So this is just coating left over. Still doing really well. And after we clay it and iron remove it, the water behavior will probably actually be even a little bit better. So I'll dress the bed after the first wash. Normally what I do is just spray it out and then spray hyper dressing on it and let it dry. Since I don't have enough hyper dressing here, we'll just do that after the first wash. Yeah, the truck looks really good. Okay, so we're gonna do some Iron X. And on this truck, all I'm simply gonna do is spray it on, let it sit, and wipe it off. We'll see if we see any iron embedded in the top of the coating, or what's left of the coating. No special procedure here other than spray it on. You could agitate it. I'm not even gonna worry about doing that. I'm just gonna go right on, and this bottle is probably toast. It's gonna get all over the place. Seems to be working okay. Uh-oh, here comes the turkeys. So I'll use 3/4 of this bottle, about 750 milliliters. Don't dilute this. I also don't recommend using any of the iron removing snow foams, or just go with the concentrated stuff. And if you really want to do it right, you should blow the car off, do a quick dry, put it on dry, put some gloves on, wipe it in. But we don't have a lot of iron here, so I'm going to do it the lazy way and just make sure I mist the entire surface and then spray it off. No, we've had these painted.
Oh, that was black before?
It was gray, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and this is all under here is all rhino lined. So normally it's not. It's just exposed. There's a little bit of iron. See if I can grab the camera and show you a little bit. So by the time I get around here to the front, it's about time to spray it off. You don't want this to dry on the paint if you can help it. Here you go, a little bit of iron on the front bumper, a little bit on the roof area or the hood area, but in general, not much on the doors, a couple little specks. Got some iron back here. So the concept here is to get the iron off of the surface, because usually like your auto scrub or clay bar isn't going to grab that, and if it was a big enough particle and it dislodged, it would scratch everything up. It's a little bit near the gas cap there. Okay, we're going to rinse it. This is going to be an old school Mormon production where I've got to work the camera. Anyway, Rex is spraying off all of the getting rid of all the iron, and so we want to do a good thorough spraying. Again, we sprayed the glass, all the surfaces, the painted surfaces, in order to get it ready for auto scrub. So while he's doing that, I'm going to prepare some auto scrub. All right, so I'm going to mix up a couple of bottles here. This is a lot like a professional cook just kind of eyeballs it. So I'm mixing it up 7 to 1-ish. It doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, when I first started detailing, I'd be like, "Wow, man, I have to get it exactly right." This doesn't really matter all that much. Just dump some liquid in there and it'll work itself out. The only issue I would rather do a little bit too much than too little. The only issue would be it would leave a little bit of residue left over, which is not a big deal, because we're going to be polishing anyway. We'll fill these up. You know, it'd be a neat idea is I should foam the whole car with Glide.
Yeah, and then it's laid right there. Make it so much easier too.
So I got a Frankenstein here. I've got a black tip on the blue bottle, so hopefully that's good. This is version 1.1, which is the same head, just a different tip. And then version 1.2, I just got some, so I don't have any of those here at the wash bay. All right. So now we clay or auto scrub. Yeah, look at that. Coating is still good. And I don't even feel quite as much contamination. You washed it really. You must have buffed it off the other day. But if we got a light out, it's going to be all scratched from not properly caring for it. I mean, you see the window, so it's all stripped of anything. I got new wiper blades. Okay, so here's how we do this. We get our bucket of soap and water left over. Our auto scrub, I don't like to put these on a machine. It's quicker and easier to just put it in your hand. I just want to make sure it's clean from the last use. And then I'm going to lubricate. You could do this during the soap step, but I like to try to reduce marring as much as possible. Yeah, it's pretty crunchy. It's time. It's not terrible, but it's ready. But yeah, before as neglected this coating has been, not too shabby.
This is the same thing, right?
Yep. I conveniently made a batch for you. Again, this is another thing I used to micromanage, like back in the day. I thought clay bar was polishing, you know, and so I would like meticulously micromanage the entire process, you know, because of how good the surface feels. What I didn't realize is it's just a really crude step designed to get you prepped for polishing. So this doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to get the crunchy stuff, the heavy stuff, because you don't want that dislodging, getting in your polisher or your polishing pad, jacking everything up, causing more scratching, scouring, maybe even damage that you can't repair. Obviously, this doesn't work on any kind of porous surfaces, but definitely do your glass, do all your paint. You just can't do plastic or like porous plastic. The headlights have actually held up really well on this truck. There's no PPF on any section except for by the doors, underneath the doors. I might just pull that PPF off. You know, it's made it this far. I might as well enjoy the paint for the rest of the life of this. I'm not off-roading in it. I really need to. Hey Rex, you got a dent guy?
Yeah.
Oh, call him. We need him to come do it. Tell him we'll make a video. I mean, I'll still pay him. Tell him no slacking on the weekends. Actually, those guys probably haven't slowed down. So again, you could always do this, a coating refresh you could call it. But to me, you're going to be better off just skipping this claying step. Maybe you do like an interim iron removal and, you know, just put like a coat of reload or some other heftier sealant on top after you do that. But I just don't think you want to do this step of decontamination because we're going to be marring the surface. Unless you're going to polish and remove. And you really can't just polish a coating. You got to try to remove it all. Start fresh, which is what we're going to do. I'm going to try to repair this thing here. But I might just buy a new one. And it'll make the exterior of the truck look brand new. You know, I use some pressure, but you don't really need a lot of pressure. You just want to move it around. Get it to grab anything that's lodged, dislodge it from the surface. So we don't want to use any kind of drying aid because we just spent all this time trying to strip the darn thing. So we want to get this stuff off the car, not add to it. So I think I want one of these step stools, but with like a handle on it, so I don't kill myself. What are you doing? I told you gotta be, you alright?
I'm good.
Gee whiz. I've never fallen. Are you trying to catch the towel?
Yeah.
No. I'm glad we got that on camera. Telling you, tire dressing is always better when it's been seasoned. You know, when you first put it on fresh, new, clean tires, I want to kind of go through a couple of cycles with it.
Do you just throw away your towel, or do you wash them?
Throw them away? No, I wash them.
So how do you go about drying them?
In the dryer, on delicate.
You still actually use some heat?
Huh?
You still use some heat?
Yeah. Just delicate so it never gets above certain temp. And you don't bring them to like super dry. You bring them just to dry. You know, you don't want to super dry them and mess them up. That's it. And it makes them, fluffs them up. Also shakes out any sand and stuff that didn't come out when you were, you know, because the washer doesn't get them, because microfiber grabs and holds. And so I want to, get all the dirt shaken out, and the dryer helps with that. This thing has like the most shrill pitch. The 580 isn't as shrill as this one. Kind of hurt. It really hurts my ears. Oh boy, Michelle hit something here.
You didn't know? I was gonna ask you that too.
See, that's why I never end up getting something different than this, because it's so easy to carry it around, that big old thing. Okay, that's a wrap on the decon process. Again, we didn't have to deal with the wheels and tires because they're brand new, coated, done, ready to go. As you saw, the wheels got a little wet, but they don't, we're not getting iron remover and stuff all over them, so they're fine. They have a coat of Crystal Serum Light, 2 coats of Exo. The same thing we're going to do to the painted surface. So I'm really surprised at how well that TiO2 is holding up. Once we get the light out, you'll see why we're doing this. But the decon process, again, is a 3-step deal where you're using a soap to hopefully strip whatever protection's on it as much as you can. Of course, that won't strip a coating, but it'll strip the top layer and hopefully clean it a little bit better. And then we're gonna iron remove. You saw a little bit of iron on the front area of the truck. That's in preparation of auto scrub. Then we use Nanoskin Glide and a Nanoskin Auto Scrub. I use the fine version to clean the glass and the painted surfaces and prepare those for polishing. Then we dry the truck, and so we're going to let it sit here for, I don't know, a couple hours. I'm going to go edit this video so I have it ready for you tomorrow, and then I'll drive it over to the garage, which is a mile down the road. Luckily, pollen season seems to be pretty much over, so it won't get coated in pollen. And we'll be using eraser to wipe down each surface as we polish. But we'll tape, polish, protect, an interior, glass, trim, buy some new replacement parts. I already bought new steps. I bought different lugs, different center caps. If you watch the video of me installing the wheels and tires yesterday, I decided I ordered new center caps last night and new tires. So there's a bunch of little maintenance items that I'm going to assess the interior and see what I need to repair in there. But I want to get the truck back up to standard, and then hopefully do a better job maintaining it going forward. I get rid of the Corvette, get rid of the M5, and simplify my life a little bit. But then I'm getting a GT4, so I don't know how that's going to simplify. I'm pretty certain I'm not selling my M3. So, unless somebody ponies up a bunch of cash for it, which, I'm not, everybody assumes I'm going to sell for $40,000. I'm going to get the deal of the century. I'll just keep it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Next episode, we'll be at the garage and we'll get to taping. Catch you on the next one.